Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Rams House Podcast. I'm your host, Ethan, joined by my co-host, Will and Joe. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
What's up?
It is an unsatisfying Victory Tuesday for me. I'm sure you guys might feel a little differently. I'm not super
Maybe.
comfortable barely winning against a bottom 5 team.
Win is a win is a win, baby. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, but I want to win more. And this game doesn't make me feel like we're going to win more. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is.
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to squeak
it
them out.
depends. Yeah, no. I mean, I saw some encouraging things and some discouraging things. Obviously, we're gonna go into each part of it, but I hear you. I hear you though.
Well,
Not a convincing win. That part is
Well, as you can see from the title, the Rams hold on to a win against Patriots. We definitely could have lost that game, and it could be argued that we maybe should have lost that game. That final interception was a gimme. That receiver was open, and if he would have stopped in that zone where he was supposed to, and even just not been blind and looked for the ball, that was actually a really well thrown ball. It was a really well thrown ball, and if he would have done what he was supposed to, he would have caught that. It would have been a first down with plenty of time, and on our side of the field, like, we would have been in bad shape. Obviously doesn't guarantee a loss, but it would have been looking much better for them had that receiver done the right thing. But
for sure.
yeah, I mean, look, there was a lot of issues in a lot of different places. The running game was pretty subpar. There was times where the passing game looked electric, and there was times where it looked awful. We kind of been going through that roller coaster all season long. And then on defense, we kind of had the same thing. We had a lot of I actually wasn't a big fan of the play calling from Shula this week. I thought we had a lot of bad play calls because there was a lot of times where they were just eating up the zone against us.
Yep.
And we never really made an adjustment. And not that Drake May's not a great quarterback, and we're going to get into that some more during the recap, but we're the first team that Drake May has really carved up like that. Like, he carved us up.
I was just about to say that. I think they scored more against us than they've scored against almost, any team this season. I'm double checking that right now.
No, I think it's like top 3 for them for sure.
Yeah. So they've scored 25 once.
Yeah, and 23
and
once,
then
right?
So they scored 25 against the Jets, and then other than that,
what is second highest?
Right.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. And a lot of that was schematic, and a lot of that was personnel problems. And we'll get into that. But in fact, let's just do that. Let's dive into the recap, and why don't we discuss our main takeaways?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'll start by saying, obviously this is a Rams podcast. I'm a huge Rams fan, but I'm also just a fan of the league in general. And I just want to say, I think the reason why this game was close was Drake May. And I just want to give some love to him before we obviously focus and go all Rams here. I really like Drake May, man. I liked him coming out of the draft. And again, the reason why this game was close, in my opinion, it was all on his shoulders. I mean, and this guy's playing with a horrible supporting cast, horrible pass protection, bad weapons. I mean, you saw drops from Booty. You saw false starts on plays where his name is literally Booty, go figure. You saw illegal formations and false starts on plays where, Drake May had made a play. Ethan mentioned it, last pick, the receiver's not even looking. Yeah. I mean, the supporting cast is just not there. I think he played really, really well. He did everything he could to keep that team in a game against a Rams team that is much more talented and much better coached. So just wanted to say that real quick. Yeah. Drake May, props to him, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo that because, as you guys remember, in the offseason, Drake May wasn't my number 1 QB in the draft, which by the time that the draft was rolling around was a really unpopular take. Remember, he was supposed to be tumbling down the draft boards all of a sudden, and I just there's something about this kid that is phenomenal, and he was my number 1 guy, and I was so high on him that I was like ready to go insane and trade Stafford and picks away to get the number 2 pick to get Drake May as our future quarterback. Not that we don't appreciate the Super Bowl from Stafford and all the stuff that he's done for us, but man, there's something exciting about having like a brand new start with a fresh new quarterback. Like, I remember how excited I was when we got Jared Goff, and in the 3 or 4 years where he was pretty dominant after that, after his rookie season. Something
Yeah.
great about having a guy like watching a guy develop at quarterback, and
Yeah.
he carved us up, man. He really
He
did
did.
well, and I agree with your point that he was basically the sole reason that they were still in that game. And it was such a weird emotional moment for me when we got that interception. It's like, oh, okay, we sealed the game up, but I felt really bad for the guy because it was actually a great read by him, and it was a great throw by him, and it should have been a pretty long first down catch that got them into Rams territory with a game on the line. He should have had the opportunity for that comeback. You guys remember a few weeks ago when he had that insane comeback with that ridiculous play at the end of the game to win?
Yep. Yep.
I
Yeah,
It
was,
was
yeah,
was
yeah,
it Tennessee or who? I can't remember who they were playing. I think it was maybe
but
the
you
Titans.
remember it was like this
Yeah, yeah,
insane.
yeah, 100,
He
100%.
escaped pressure, got out of the
Yeah.
pocket, made an insane throw. I
Oh
was
yeah.
thinking in the back of my head, I was like, he's gonna dap us up to end the game here. He's about to do something special. I was really
Yeah.
nervous because he'd been carving us up all game. Thank goodness that his receivers were not on the same page of a comeback win, and
Right.
we escaped with that win. But Drake may deserve the win that game. Like that dude
Yeah.
balled his butt off, bro. Like he was really
Yeah.
good, and that honestly, that's my main takeaway. Is that same with you? Drake was unbelievable. He is every bit of a great young quarterback that we thought he would be. Maybe even surpassing that. Besides that, I still have some pretty grave concerns about many areas of our team, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it last week, right? That we were really wanting to see a convincing double-digit victory or like a 2 touchdown victory, and we definitely did not get that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's some real question marks. Joe, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, me. Shout out Drake May. I know you guys know I wasn't a huge Drake May fan coming out. Um, he was in my top 5 quarterbacks. Obviously, I had Caleb one and Jim Daniels too, but Drake May, he's proven me wrong week after week. It's my first time really watching him all 4 quarters. He's a really good quarterback, man. He
Of
knows
course.
what to do. I know. During the game, I had to put a message in the Discord, and he was doing things that Stafford doesn't do as far as throwing the ball out. Like he made a decision,
Yep.
it was in the end zone. Instead of him taking a sack, which he could have took a sack, and Stafford usually takes a sack in that position, he threw it away. And
Yeah.
that was even though it's something small like that, it was pretty
Yeah, you're
impressive
talking
to
about the
me.
play where
Yeah.
he just like tossed it at Hunter Henry's feet. Yeah,
Yeah,
he actually
yeah,
had 2 throwaways, and I remember going, "Man, it'd be nice if my quarterback did that." And then he had
right,
a
Yeah.
couple of plays where
right.
like he was not in a great position. There was pressure, and
Hmm.
he could have gone for a deep shot, and he just settled for a check down and got a first down, and then lived. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Man, it would be nice if my quarterback did that too."
Yeah.
absolutely.
He
Yeah,
he he plays with a lot of poise and a lot of patience.
Yeah. I was gonna say he
he really
plays
does.
mature
He really
for a
does.
rookie. He plays
He,
pretty mature.
he really does. And when it comes to us, I remember I said last week that I wanted. We almost got 30 points, so I guess you could give that to him. But I wanted a more convincing victory, and the game really wasn't like that. But the only thing I will say that I wanted to see, and I think I did see, was the play calling. I think Sean McVay had a nice day play calling. I thought the play calling was tight. I thought it was on point. I thought he got a lot of receivers open. I think our issue was the defense and mainly the secondary was pretty bad, and they let I mean not almost at Panthers, but the Patriots were scoring almost at will. Sometimes they were getting at least getting down the field at will, and I think that was pretty bad from the secondary. But offensively, Stafford he missed some throws they should have made because we really could have maybe had another touchdown, maybe 35. Um, but I think play calling wise, Sean McVay had a pretty nice day.
I know the statistic. Let's just jump into the offensive takeaways. I'll just start with my. I know to piggyback off what Joe's saying. I know that the offensive stats won't show it. For example, Stafford had a pretty statistically dominant day. I actually agree with you. I thought the play calling was much better than Stafford's performance. I thought we kind of had a classic Stafford performance where like there was some really horrific passes and then there was some like unbelievable passes. The touchdown he threw off his back foot to who was it? It was Colby Parkinson.
Yeah,
Pressure in his
back in
face.
the end zone.
It was that classic fadeaway throw. It was perfect. It was beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that was classic Stafford. And then there was one throw, for example, in the red zone where he was throwing to Cooper Cup on a 7 yard slant, and it was
Yeah.
he just way overthrew it. And
Yeah.
Pretty seldom, yeah.
there's just a lot of it that would have like a gimme touchdown. Cooper was pretty open, and there was a lot of that up and down. Statistically, he was phenomenal, but man, it just if you're not like a super Stafford homer, it's got to make you nervous when he makes a lot of errant throws and a lot of errant decisions, and you go, well, if he does that against the wrong team in the wrong situation, season's over, right? Like
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
I'm
at
going from
least we,
that.
we didn't see the type of errant throws that were like turnover worthy. There was so I actually went back and literally made a list of all the Stafford misses, which I have handy. I won't read off read off the list right now, but there were a few misses, absolutely, and like Ethan just said, there was a bunch, not just like a couple, but a bunch of really really good throws. I also have a list of those. Like there was some really special throws in this game. Um, but I guess the one encouraging thing is there weren't like turnover worthy throws, which we had seen a lot of. I mean, against Seattle, he threw like 6 or 7 balls that could have
sure.
been picked. So I was at least happy about that.
Okay,
Um,
well, yeah, that's that's good research, man. I might want to take a look at that list.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I can,
good,
I
great
can, I
research.
can spout it off. I just we'll see if it becomes more relevant or not, just based off the
Yeah.
conversation. But no, I think it was. I'll say that. I mean, we all have different opinions, and I think it was a really good day from Stafford. Yeah, yes, point blank, period. He missed a few throws. The one at the end of the first half to Cooper Cup that could have been a touchdown, absolutely. There was a couple more. He missed one to D Rob. He missed a couple more. Just whatever. He missed like 4 or 5 throws in this game.
Mhm.
But I think he made a bunch of great throws. One of his best throws of the day was actually in the 4-minute drive at the end of the game to Puka Nakua, who dropped it. That would have been like a
Oh
dagger
yeah,
throw down
I
the left
remember that one.
sideline.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Mhm.
throw to make, and he hits Puka right in the hands in great coverage. I think Stafford played really well, man. I was encouraged. Now, I said on the podcast last week that I needed like an offensive explosion to really feel good about the offense. I don't know. This one was like borderline. I mean, 28 points, like that's pretty good. I don't know what you guys think as far as like just big picture, how much you were encouraged by the offensive
Yeah.
performance. I think it was like a step in the right direction, but
I think it
I don't
was.
know. What do you guys
I
think?
thought it was. I thought it was. I don't know. It wasn't an explosion, but I thought it
Hmm.
was just. I thought it was just good, steady offense. I think we moved the ball pretty well. The play calling was good. Stafford had his highs as lows, but I think he had a lot of highs. So I think it was a good day offensively. I would say I'm maybe a little bit encouraged just because of I like to see just good days and um and coming off the Miami game, I felt like that if you're really stuck in the rut, sometimes it's hard to get out. And even though it's the Patriots, their passing defense isn't awful. And they got a really, really, really good DB, Christian Gonzalez. And I think I do want to talk about Christian Gonzalez because the Patriots made some bad mistakes how they used him that game. And that could have affected the game differently if they would have used him a different way. But I think all in all, it was a good day. It wasn't an explosion, but I think it was good enough for me to just stay in that even kill where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'll play devil's advocate and give a differing opinion. It's a hard position to take because statistically the game was pretty good offensively. Stafford, good game. Kyron, good looking game. The issue is and it's kind of the reverse role of other games, where it's like where I've said, oh, we've played really well offensively, but we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot or something like that. It was kind of
Mhm.
and I agree with what Joe said. Gonzalez, their whole second, I mean, the defensive game plan was awful from the Patriots. It was really
Yeah.
bad. Gonzalez was being used poorly. Guys were getting wide open over and over and over again, or just like horrendous. How many times do we have to see Cooper Cup make the same play, the exact same play against a team? I'm talking about that
Yeah.
68-yard
Mhm.
touchdown where they pulled both safeties in. Cooper got one on one. Cooper can't be guarded one on one. How many times are you guys
Yeah.
going to learn this lesson? It
Although
was
that was
like
a perfect
it
throw.
was a
That
great
throw was
throw
one of
and it was a great
Stafford's
That
catch,
was
best.
a
but
really
it's
good, really good throw.
predictable. But that's a defense. If there's a safety there,
Sure.
that ball doesn't
Single
get thrown.
coverage.
Period.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. Single coverage with Cooper deep like that,
You
like
got
that's not what you
you got
do.
a good quarterback and a Hall of Fame level receiver. That's going to be a touchdown almost every
Yeah.
single time. And so, yeah, I thought it was a really poor game defensively by the Patriots. The game plan was awful. They were misusing guys. I mean, Kyron, for example, was pretty bad all game long. He basically had 3 runs that were like 8 to 18 yards that carried his entire stat line. And he was basically stuffed all game long besides that. Um, and in those 3 runs, he was basically untouched for the entirety of the runs. I mean, the blocking was really, really good. especially on the left side. I thought actually Alaric Jackson and Steve Avila had one of their best blocking days of the season for that
Yeah,
left side.
baby.
The left side's been a problem most of the season. I thought they were really good. Um, and this schematically, we had some. Where in the past we had like tight ends coming around to get blocks on guys to open up lanes. Our tight ends have been failing to do that in the past.
Yeah.
And it's caused issues with Kyron's running. This time they had two, I think all three of those big runs, in fact, I think had a tight end coming across, getting a really good seal block and giving Kyron the whole of a lifetime to run through. And we can talk
Yeah.
about the lack of explosion and all that stuff, but there were just a lot of things that went right for us that made it, I think, seem better than it was. Obviously,
Sure.
I'm not upset
Well,
about having a game where everything looks good, but I get, my way of thinking is I'm trying to see, okay, I'm watching this and I'm saying, um, is this something that can be replicated in the future? Is this something that, like, if we do the exact same stuff, is it going to go well against better teams or better coaching staffs and etc.? And I'm not left with a great sense of that, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it can't be too negative on the whole deal. I think, and again, I said I wanted to play devil's advocate. I wasn't like, I didn't come away from that being like, oh, we're going to dominate offensively the rest of the season. I guess that's a fair
Sure.
way
Sure.
of putting it. I'm happy with
No,
the
yeah.
results against the Patriots, who I think had a pretty horrible game on defense. Which Joe's correct. They're not a bad defensive team, but realistically, I think Sean McVay just ate the defensive coordinator's lunch. Like, he just ate it.
Yeah.
Sean outcoached
One thing
him
I
10-1.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out too, though, that's been very, very encouraging is no matter who we play, Stanford is getting the ball to Puka and Cooper Cup, and
Yep.
those guys are showing up and having big games. And I think that's just been one of the D line, the offensive line here and there, and then Puka and Cooper Cup. Those have been a steady good things week after week, and I do think that's a positive. At least that we have some things that's steadily just being good, and I think that's
Yeah.
very
I
positive.
I think
Yeah.
And it
that's
should,
actually probably my biggest point. More excited than I am
yeah.
about Stafford's Day. I'm like, Puka and Cooper are literally just unstoppable. Like,
They
Hmm.
are
that
Hmm.
combo is
they're like
unstoppable.
that. Like,
And like, I trust me, it would be easy to just say, look, he had 142 passer rating. He had a great day. I genuinely feel after watching the game multiple times that McVay's play calling, game plan, and Cooper Cup and Puka Nacua carried the heaviest load here. And
sure.
I'm not trying to say that as a Stafford hater. I just think, bro, I mean, how often were these guys wide open? They were wide open all game long. And if
They
they
were
weren't,
they were open on some plays,
But
and other
really,
plays Stafford hit them in tight windows. I think there was a
he
mixture of both.
definitely did. Yeah,
true.
he
Yeah,
definitely did.
there was both. But no, you're right. I mean, the play calling is one thing, but I think what Sean McVay specifically, what he's really good at is route combinations. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see
Mhm.
someone take a anyways, that's basically it. Just the route combinations where you see one receiver go a certain direction, and then the other receiver will kind of like trail him underneath and work off of him. All
Sure.
that stuff. He's great at getting
Absolutely.
receivers open. But you know, like hearing both of you, I think both of you making fair points. Like, it kind of was like a borderline of like how encouraged I am about this offensive performance. But you know what would make me feel way better about it is, and I said this on the last pod, is we don't start fast, man. Like, we didn't. We're a horrible first quarter team
We're the worst
offensively.
in the NFL.
I don't understand that.
We're the
Awesome,
worst in the
bro.
And
NFL.
if we had just started, like, so, because I think we didn't score till like late in the second quarter, maybe like midway through or late in the second quarter. But
Mhm.
if you're even starting like sort of fast or getting any sort of points in the first quarter, all of a sudden that was a 35-point game from us or a 31-point game from us. So I think
There you
that's
go.
that's happening anyways. Like, when we play better teams, man, if you don't start fast against Philly and you have to play catch up,
You're not
that
gonna.
obviously that's going to be
You're not
horrible,
gonna.
especially against a good
You're
running
not.
team like them. Like,
Oh
that has to
yeah.
change. That has to
Saquon
change.
will Saquon will
Y-
pound the ball down our throats, bro.
Yeah,
But
100%.
here's, you guys got a little sneak peek into behind the curtain as I was going to find the stat for you guys. But first quarter, we're the worst in football. First quarter
There you
points.
go. That's weird, man, because we're
In
pretty
fact,
decent off. So what is it
let's
about,
check the half.
you
First
know,
half, we're probably one of the worst in the first half, to be honest.
I don't know.
Actually, so we probably, in fact, so we're not the worst, but we're close. But I bet we're probably decent in the second quarter, to be honest. Offense, second quarter. I mean, we're still kind of trash.
Where are we? I'm curious.
Um,
So we're just a bad So we're a horrible first quarter team, and we're just a bad first half team, I guess.
What
Oh,
about
here we are. We're mid. We're 7 points a game.
Okay. All right.
So we're right
So
in
you
the
said
middle.
Either way, we have to fix that
But
and start
let's just
fast.
I mean we're here. Let's just look by second half. I think we're probably
yeah, second half, yeah.
12th, so we're above average.
Okay. That's
Okay.
and
So I guess we're okay. We're okay
So-
second half.
This goes to talk. This point goes to talk more about the situational football that we're struggling with. We're struggling in the early in the games. We're struggling in on third and fourth down. We're struggling in
Yeah.
the red zone. Situational football for this team. And by the way, it isn't all Sean McVay's fault. I will say
Yeah,
there's been
sure,
some
of course.
questionable play calls in these important situations. Oftentimes, the game plan in the first quarter is awful, but oftentimes the execution is a problem. I think
Yeah.
it's important that we have that discussion because, I
Mhm.
mean, Stafford on important downs has been pretty bad. In fact, you know what? I forgot we have these stats. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let's just go through some. We've got some stuff to show you guys. Let's go through some of this. I actually Cooper Cup, man, holy mackerel! So he just set a record for statistics in the first 100 games of a player's career. Not like Ram record, NFL history. This is the most productive first 100 games in the history of football.
Yeah.
If
And
this
that's
guy,
not like a nonsense record. Like
that's 100 games is a
catches,
lot,
yards,
bro.
touchdowns.
That's a
Yeah.
lot, dude. I haven't.
Yeah.
So he played 100 games already,
Yeah, I think that was his 100th
Yeah.
game.
I
dude.
mean, he's
That
been
is
in the league
crazy.
for a while. Yeah. It sounds right.
Well, let me double
No,
check while we're
he's
talking
missed a lot
about
of
that.
time.
But Cooper Cup, man, is just he's a guy, bro. He is him.
He's him.
When he's healthy,
Bro,
he's
honestly,
him.
yo,
Oh, actually,
Joe.
no. He's only played 98 games, so he set the record with 2 games to spare.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh, that is crazy. That is
Yeah.
crazy.
Cooper Cup, bro. Holy mackerel. That is
I'm
something.
sorry, Will. You want to tell me something?
No, I was just thinking back to when we did the real quick when we did the mid-season awards show.
Yeah.
You asked a really interesting question. Who's the best player on the team right now? And I think
Okay.
it's Jared versus Puka or Cooper. I'm not even trying to like re-argue it right now, but I just think that's such a good question. Like, is
It
it
sure
verse?
is.
Is it Puka? Is it Cup?
Speaking of Puka,
It's a great question.
Puka is setting records for the amount of games he's played. 22 games.
He's just so
He's
good, man.
third most
Superstar,
receiving
man.
yards by a player through the first 22 games. I think number 1 is probably Justin Jefferson and maybe Jamar Chase. So
Yeah.
it's like he's trailing like
Superstar.
2 unbelievable studs in this situation.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Avila. So glad to have you back, big dog.
Yes,
So glad to have you back, man.
Yeah.
That left guard position, even though they were doing okay run blocking, they were just awful in pass blocking situations. So
Mhm.
great job there. I think we have one more. Okay, so let's have a conversation about the running back position. This I'm gonna blow it up, but it's a little big for what we're doing here. But I'm gonna show you it's the horizontal axis is the run blocking grade for the team, and so you see Kyron is down here by DeAndre Swift. So the run blocking has actually been like top 10, top 12 throughout the season, despite the first 3 games where they were all injured and playing poorly. It's still like a top 10, top 12 run blocking team. And then this is the vertical axis is how successful of a running game of a running back you have basically. And Kyron's basically bottom 5 in the NFL, maybe bottom 7 in running, basically. And it's specifically it's yards over expected per attempt. So based on what the defense is showing, what the offense is showing, and what play you're calling, they create an expectation over based on the other players in the NFL of what you're expected to get. Kyron is basically getting the bare minimum, one of the worst in football. So the running game has been a problem.
It's been a big problem, man. And
Hey.
I know me and Will had oh, my fault to cut you off.
No, go Joe, go.
Me and Will was talking about earlier today that we finally want to get, that I'll let Will explain it because I know he made a great point about it. But I know we finally want to get that, elite running back. And I'm sorry, I like Kyrie, man, but if we could snatch Ashton Jesse somehow or get a good running back next year to put an elite guy back there, it'll be pretty amazing. It'll help us offense tenfold.
Yeah, I mean, I think of what the Lions did with Jahmyr Gibbs, where I'll be honest. So first of all, I liked Jahmyr Gibbs as a player, so it wasn't like, oh, I don't like Jahmyr Gibbs, but I thought it was a high pick, and I thought that they had other holes, and both of those things are probably true. But it still ended up being a great pick because man, when you have an elite run game, it can mask some other deficiencies on your team, and like that is just a dynamic weapon for them, and we need that in our offense. We haven't had that in like 4 or 5 years since Todd Gurley.
It,
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, you want to chime in on that,
yeah,
Ethan?
it doesn't just mask deficiencies. It also has been, especially the last 2 years, has been utilized as a weapon to stifle teams once you have a lead. Like
Mm-hmm.
that has been
Yeah,
done in the last 2
absolutely.
years in a way that it hadn't in like the previous 10. And if you look at the teams that are dominating around the league, they all have good running games. With the
Yeah.
exception of the Chiefs, who had a mediocre running game overall. Derrick Henry over there in Baltimore. You got the
Mhm.
Steelers two-headed monster. Even though neither guy's very good, they're effective overall when they're both running. And Najee Harris and Jalen, what's his name?
Jalen Moore.
Yeah,
Oh, Jalen Warren.
yeah,
Yeah,
Jalen
he's
Warren.
really
And
good.
then Saquon Barkley's on an 8-2 team. The Lions have a two-headed monster. The best teams in football right now are all having really effective running games, and
Yeah.
it is a difference maker in a way that it hasn't been in a long time.
Yeah, that's true. It really has kind of resurged. And I mean, everyone says it's a cyclical league where things kind of go in and out of trend. And right now it
Yep.
is definitely trending back towards a running league.
By the way,
Uh,
even in
Absolutely.
situations like this, right here with Austin Eckler and Brian
oh,
Robinson,
yeah, the
the
Commanders.
command,
Yeah, great,
they're a
great
run
back.
first team.
Yeah, yeah,
So
100%.
and so to the point we're talking about is getting an effective running game. Alshon Jennings is just
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. So, real quick on this too. Look, the in my opinion, guys, the absolute best run in this game was Blake Corum gets a pitch on like a second and down, sorry, a second down, starts to go left because it was
Oh
absolutely
yeah,
a pitch left, sees that there
And
was no
cuts.
hole there and cut all the way back
severe
right
cut.
side. I
Mhm.
haven't seen Kyron Williams do that one time this season.
One
So
time
I don't
ever.
care. I don't care if it was not the longest run of the game. That was the best run that I saw all game was from Blake
Mhm.
Corum. The vision that he showed on that play is something that I haven't seen from Kyron Williams. And I'm going to I don't care if I'm beating, a dead horse or saying the same thing over and over because I'm saying it over and over because it keeps happening. Why does this guy get a good sequence? He gets 3, 4
Yeah.
carries, looks very good, and then you take him out. It just doesn't make any sense to me, man.
It
So
So,
doesn't.
so you know what's crazy about that run? Just as an example, for the stat that we're looking at specifically, I would be willing to bet money that the yards expected on that run were probably
0
-1 or
or minus.
0
Yeah.
because
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
actually had to make a guy miss behind the line of scrimmage to make that play happen.
Right.
So that was like
Yeah,
a
bro,
when you're
that
talking
was a
about yards
beautiful
over
that was a
expected, that was
beautiful
a
run.
+8 run. It was beautiful. I think it was a 7 yard run in the end or a 5 yard. It was just great though.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, like, yeah, Kyron, the numbers 5.7 yards a carry, obviously that looks great, but look, the numbers they do lie. Like if you watch the tape,
Yes, they do.
again, I just said it, but that Corum run was better than anything I saw from Kyron all day. And I'm just really not sure what the thought process is when you put someone in, they do well, and then you don't put them back in. I really don't. I don't understand
Well, we
what's
know
going on.
personnel decisions have been a weak point this year. I think that's at this
Mhm.
point. I think that's like undeniable, right? I genuinely do. I think we have so many examples, whether it's Jonah Jackson taking over for Bo Limmer, or the Blake Corum and Kyron Williams situation, or Troy Reader
Mhm.
playing over Spates, or there's a lot of examples. I honestly I could literally go on. Um,
Yeah,
I think it's been the one of the weakest points of this season, man. I think it's been bad.
I agree.
And
Well,
by the way, Noteboom playing over McClendon, who was great, not like good.
Oh,
McClendon
yeah.
was
That's a great
great
point.
in this game.
That
yeah,
is a great. I
and
think he only gave up one person the whole game.
yeah, and I guess real quick on that to be positive, let's I guess to be fair, let's give credit to Sean and the coaching staff for putting Bo Limmer back in so soon.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
absolutely,
We had
absolutely.
discussed, we were worried that he would keep Jonah Jackson in, and
for good reason.
they put Limmer back. Yeah, for sure. For the reason you just said, which
Yeah,
is that coaching personnel decisions have been suspect all year. But they put Limmer back in right away. Props to them. I think it was the right move, and
I think
you
Jonah
know,
Jackson's
I
going to
want-
get traded in the offseason, and I'm excited.
I
Oh,
agree. Yeah, I agree.
absolutely,
I wish we
absolutely.
traded him earlier, man. But
All right, so let's go on to another point real quick. This is quarterback efficiencies. This goes to what we were talking about on early downs versus late downs. I'm showing you the zoomed out version before. So third down and fourth down is the vertical axis, and early down is the horizontal axis. So we look at it, and Stafford's basically a top 7 quarterback on early downs and a bottom 3 quarterback on late downs, which is, I think, the film shows that 100%.
just want to ask a quick question.
Um,
Why do you think that is?
you know, I think it's a mixture of things. Part of it
Mhm.
is the play calling has been less effective on third and fourth down, and
Yeah.
part of it I think has to do with the fact that teams are. I mean, it's almost golfish in the sense that like Stafford's stats this season, when pressured and when in a clean pocket, are like totally inverted. He's like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in a clean pocket, and he's like a bottom 5 quarterback under pressure this season.
Mhm.
Ironically, Goff isn't having that problem this season, but that's obviously been Goff's entire career. He's been that way, right? And I think teams are kind of privy on this, and they're sending the house on third and fourth down. And because of our ineffective running game, and did we pull that stat up yet? Or yeah, so let's take a look at this real quick, right? Because this goes to the point that we're making. The y-axis or the vertical axis is rushing efficiency on early downs, and the horizontal axis is passing efficiency on early downs. We're basically a really bad team running the ball on early downs, and we're a top 7, top 8 passing team on early downs. So what I think is happening is going back to this chart is basically because we love Kyron and Kyron's getting bulk heavy loads and he's running a lot on first and second down. We're facing a lot of third and fourth and longs. And when
Yeah, that's
and
it right
we've had an injured O line, and when it's third and long, to be honest, Stafford loves to go deep and go for a home run on third and long and fourth and long. He loves
there.
it. And then on the flip side, Deshaun's passing offense in general is a longer developing passer offense than a lot of other coordinators and play callers. But
Yeah,
on third and fourth down, we just don't seem to like to just take the quick slant for the first down or the quick out or something. We try to like have more intricate third and fourth down. So I think it's a mixture of Kyron is putting us in terrible positions, and then we're getting too the quarterback and the play caller, Sean and Matt are getting too cute on third and fourth downs. Like sometimes you just got to take the clear, quick play of ignore the pressure, make it a non-factor by just getting the first down and living to see another down. That's it. That's the takeaway. I think.
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah. Early down efficiency in the run game, not being a strength, is makes complete sense why we then would be having success on third down. I mean,
Mhm.
I'll probably look it up later. I'd like to see maybe if there's like a chart that shows what our average, how many yards we need to convert third downs, aka like how many third and longs are we getting into versus other teams. I'll probably try to find that later. But yeah, I mean, if the early down efficiency isn't there in the run game, like we know this with Sean since 2017, like that's a huge part of the offense, and we're not getting that right now. So it checks out for me. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just
I was trying to find that one in this
sure.
grouping and I can't.
Yeah, it's okay. If you do find it, let us know. I was gonna say just one more thing on at least for me, one more thing on the offensive takeaways is I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about the decision late in the game when it was 28-22. We were in range for like a 52 to 53 yard field goal. I think Sean made a really interesting decision where if we had kicked that field goal, the game is basically out of reach. At that point, it would
Mhm.
have been 31-22. It's a 9-point game, and he decided to punt. I know
Actually,
Cardi.
I'm literally looking at a stat right now about that. This is the 3 teams that have cost
Oh, about the
themselves the
third down.
most. No, this is fourth down precisely. Basically, teams
Okay.
that refuse to go for it on fourth down no matter what.
Mhm.
And this is the teams. So based on statistical models, the team that has cost themselves the most win probability points by not going for it on fourth and short situations is the Rams. We're the worst team on fourth down by the computer models.
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
Well,
It's I don't know why.
We never
It's
go for it. I
never.
mean, that's the bottom line. We never go for it on fourth down ever. I mean, we do
okay.
occasionally, but it's very rare. And I honestly, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, if I'm being just straight honest, because you guys know I love Sean, but I think he's just doesn't have the confidence right now because his third down play calling has been bad and the red zone play calling has been bad. I think he doesn't feel comfortable with his packages in those situations.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so
I
we were
think
talking
it.
about third down, but that's also I hadn't realized that we were an awful fourth down team too.
Yeah.
So
Well, but
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, my bad. I thought we were talking about just
No,
the
no, no.
late
It's
down
no. That's an
situation in general.
interesting. No, that's an interesting point. Like I didn't know that. Like that we're bad on fourth.
Yeah.
Um,
so real quick to the point. How good do you guys think we are in third and fourth, like ranking wise? I'm pulling it up right
Third
now.
and fourth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say bottom fourth for sure, like 24 between 24 and 32.
On fourth down though, I feel like we got a lot of fourth down conversions this
I
year
do
from the
remember
defense.
Kyron, like off the top of my head, Kyron Williams converting like a few fourth downs, but
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
just
Okay,
know
so
we, I
let's
just know we
do each
I know
one.
we're bad.
So third down, where do we
let's
rank?
do third. Yeah, I know we suck on third down. I didn't know we
Yeah,
sucked on
So
fourth
give
down.
me a number. Where do we rank out of 32
Uh,
teams?
I'll say 26.
probably around. Yeah, I said the same.
You know
25.
what? I'll say 27. 27.
It's 27, bro. Way to go.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Right here,
I corrected
27.
myself the last second too.
That was baller.
Dude,
So
that's worse than the Patriots, man. Like, come on.
it's dude, 33% of the times we convert first down. And then
Yo,
let's
so
take a look at fourth.
Drake May, rookie QB is doing better on third down. I mean,
Fourth,
he's
fourth
really good.
down,
I like Drake May, but he's a rookie.
we're 17th.
Okay, so it's not horrible, but
how many fourth downs have we
yeah,
gone?
not certainly what you wouldn't expect that from the Sean.
Let's see if we can fourth
But
downs per game.
Yeah, I want to see how many have we went for?
1.4 per game times what? 10 games. So
No,
14 times we've gone
not
for
good.
it.
how about red zone? Does that thing tell you red zone?
Of course it
I'd like
does.
to know what the update is. Where are we at on that?
It's gonna be here. Red zone percentage TD only. We are 25th, 50%.
Yeah, that's yeah.
There's
So yeah, no, it's a good point.
It's not
Situationally,
good.
not
third
good.
downs, fourth downs, red zone, first quarter. Which I know first quarter isn't really like a category people focus on, but I mean starting
Actually,
slowly matters.
I want to take a closer look at this because I actually think we were talking about the running game situation. Remember about how people are getting leads and holding them because they have a lead and they have a good running game. I think
Yeah.
it is affecting us negatively, and I want to show that.
Sure.
I
No,
want to
for
look
sure.
at the scoring by quarter real quick and do the first. I would be willing to bet that most of those teams are decent. This is first quarter points. You're talking about Minnesota, who's what 8-2 still. They're still doing really
Yeah.
well. Washington, Arizona's doing well. I mean, these are not like the best of the best teams in the NFL,
They're all good
but
teams.
they're all
though,
good teams. Buffalo's up here. And then if we expound upon it and look at it by half, I bet the first half teams, I mean, Detroit, Washington, New Orleans, but New Orleans, that was like 3 games. Remember when they scored like
They
40
blew
points a
they were
game?
blowing teams out.
This
Yeah.
is they're still being carried by
And Tampa Bay has been good for most of the year. They just got
Yep.
bad injury
Houston,
luck.
Baltimore, Buffalo. I mean, these are all playoff teams. All 10 of these
Yeah.
teams are playoff teams with the exception
No,
of the
so
Saints.
it is like an indicative stat. Like it matters how you start a lot, which makes complete sense, obviously, because playing from behind is hard in the
We're
NFL.
27th in first half
Yeah.
points. So that's
Yeah.
obviously a huge problem.
Yeah, and especially with how we want to play, where we have a team that's built to rush the passer, right? Well, you
Yeah.
can't rush the passer if of course you can, but when you're losing, then it's the pass rush isn't as much of a factor. I mean,
100%.
it's all tied together. Like that's why, yeah, we got to starting fast. I know we went on like a. I don't know if you had more to say on that before I.
No, you're good.
Before we were talking about that, I asked you guys, I think you were pulling up the graphic, the decision at the end of the game where in the 4-minute drive, we decided to, we were in range for like a 52 or 53-yard field goal, and Sean decided to punt instead of, if we make that field goal, the game's basically over. It becomes a 9-point game. I was just interested in what you guys thought about that decision. I mean, 52 yards is Cardi can make that. So I don't know if he just after one miss, Sean lost confidence in him. Like I thought that was a really interesting decision.
It was.
You normally don't punt there.
I think it was a 50-yarder. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was a 50-yard field goal that we did not punt on, and
that we did punt on.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's a little bit puzzling. The only thing I can think of is that we were in New England, and I know that it was fairly windy.
Okay.
So maybe it was a wind issue.
Fair.
But Cardi made one into the wind in Chicago.
Against Chicago, yeah.
And so I don't know, rookie kicker, man. I think the train of thought was simple. I think it was too windy. Guy already missed a kick, and rookie quarterback on the other side, kind of a bad OC. Do we think that they can do a 2? By the way, they were doing a 2-minute drill on us. They were actually killing that drive until that guy didn't look for the ball. So
Yeah.
maybe not the best of decisions, because you're talking about the difference of what they ended up getting the ball on.
It was like not even the 20, I want to
the
say. I
10.
think it was short of the 20. Yeah.
So it was a 25-yard difference. I mean, but if we make the field goal, the game's over.
Right. Which is why I think it was I'm not even saying I hated the decision. I'm like 50-50 on it. I'm just curious what you guys thought. It was an interesting decision either way.
I'm gonna
but-
be real. I hated it because it's just the NFL, bro. Don't never give your chance. Don't ever give the other team a chance to beat you if you can help it.
Yeah.
Don't. I know it's a rookie quarterback. I know they have a bad offense, but we gave him a chance. And you know what? I know we intercepted the ball and won the game, but Drake May was kind of balling until that play.
Yeah.
And
No, he is
so-
definitely capable of getting down
remember,
there.
you
that's
guys
for
remember
sure.
the first pass of that drive was an 18-yard pass to Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
It was a dot.
That was frickin' Akello Witherspoon, I think, who gave it up. I could be wrong.
They
but I
called
think it
PI
was-
on Akello, and it was completed.
Yeah.
You know what? I got a kind of a take on that situation with the punter situation. Of course, that's a great point. I totally forgot about that, Ethan. With the win, that's really big, and you could 50 yards out. It's so easy to shank when it's windy like that. But I think one thing Sean McVay was thinking about that. It's a 6-point game, and if you're Sean and you're the Rams, you can't lose to the Patriots. So he's probably looking at it like they'll be at the 50-yard, almost close to the 50-yard line.
Well, 35.
Drake May has really 35-yard line. Drake May has really been moving the ball down the field in our secondary the whole game. So he's probably thinking in his head, okay, we need to win this game, and we can't even give them a shot to do it because that's a bad loss. So it's probably a thing of where he maybe didn't trust the secondary 100% to be able to get a stop in this situation, which is bad all in itself, just because the Patriots offense is not world beaters either. So I think it was sort of that mixed in as well.
Like you're saying he didn't trust them with a short field, basically, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I was
So-
saying he put his defense back out there.
So
but
the
I
whole
guess-
thing
Yeah,
was
that's
he
when
didn't.
short field. Yeah, the
He
defense is
didn't,
bad.
he didn't
Bad
trust
shit.
anyone. He didn't trust the defense with the short field. He didn't trust the kicker. No, I'm just being real.
No, it's fine. You're right.
Or
It's
I
funny.
mean, to be totally real, he didn't trust the offense to go
He-
out
he
and
trusted
convert a
Ethan
fourth down.
Evans.
Because
He
realistically,
trusted the defense.
what do you? I mean, there's some teams that would have gone for it on fourth down there too.
What was
the
it? Was it
distance?
fourth
Like
and
It was fourth and 6.
4 or 4th and 6?
There's
Yeah, I don't
there's
know.
some
fourth
teams
and-
that would have
fourth
gone
and
for it.
six? Fourth and
Yeah.
6 hard though. That's
No, but you know why you go for it? Because if you think the kick is a coin flip, right? You think, okay, it's windy, it's a 50-yarder, the kick is a coin flip. Well, so is a fourth down. I mean, what's the difference? If you gain 5 yards and come up short on fourth down, they actually get it on the 30 instead of the 35. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
any yards you gain is better than what it would have been in a missed kick. There is teams in the NFL, good ones, that would have gone for it on that play, I think.
Yeah, no, it's actually a really interesting. I love like game situation stuff. It's really interesting scenario. Like it would have made sense. There's a lot of different things that would have made sense there. Like you said, like Cardi had missed a 26-yard field goal. So do you trust him to make like a 51-yarder? Like I kind of get, I get it. I get why Sean didn't do it. I just
Yeah,
thought it
for
was
sure.
an interesting call either way. But and I also understand like the defense, even though in that game they hadn't played great, this defense has kind of been the strength of this team. And making a rookie QB drive the length of the field to win it, like I kind of get why Sean put his faith a little bit more in the D. So either way, I think either way I wouldn't have been mad at the decision. But
You know what it felt like? It felt like
we
a
should
it felt like a Jaquez Tart interception, man. It felt like we got bailed out a little
got
bit.
nailed a little bit. Yeah.
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 Because I think that probably, like I said, if that was any of the receivers on our team,
They catch that.
they catch that ball. We're lucky
Yeah.
that their receiving core is like honestly, D-Rob would have caught that, Tutu would have caught that, Puka, Cup, Xavier Smith probably would have caught that, like Tyler, like they all do. It was not a hard one. He got
It
into a
wasn't even
very
looking.
he got into a very soft spot in the zone, like wide open. Drake threw a dot and he just kept running and didn't even look for the ball. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
It's football, baby. Something you gotta. It takes luck sometimes to get done.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's move to defensive takeaways. Let's take a look at the stats real quick. See where we had here. I thought the defensive situation was up and down. Obviously, Braden
Yeah.
Fish 2 sacks. Byron Young had a sack. We had a we had a whole litany of pass deflections, 8 of
Hmm.
them. Kobe Durant had 2, Cameron Curl had 2, and then we had a few people with 1. Yeah, I mean there was a lot to like in this game. Obviously, the Cam Kinchen's interceptions to end it. Um,
Yeah.
all in all, what are your guys' main takeaways from the defense?
Up and down is a good way to put it. I mean, there were positives. Obviously, Braden Fisk, just man. I mean, that sack on Drake May was just special. He like flies off. I mean, when you're watching it, the way he gets, how quickly he gets into the backfield, it literally looks like different, man. Like we compared him to AD. We had this like short, on our channel. We compared him to AD, and before anyone freaks out, we weren't saying he's as good as AD, but we were saying the way that Ethan put it was styles and strengths.
Yeah.
Um, how many DTs do you see with that quick of a first step? So
You
that was
mean
special.
hold
Um,
on, hold on. You mean
oh yeah, you have a
this
graphic
quick of
for
a
that,
first
right?
step? Fastest sack
Yeah.
this season by a defensive lineman.
Yeah,
So
and in
I'm
fact,
actually going to play this. I'm going to play it
yeah,
because
sure, screw it. If we get
so
copyrighted,
he's right
whatever.
here, all the way on the edge. I think that's a 7 tech spot was where he's at right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
So watch this stunt, bro. Look at the speed of this stunt and just the precision. You know what it's
Dude,
special about one of
Crazy.
those things is one of the things I really like about it is one of the things that he does well, specifically in these stunts, is because he has such great agility and such great speed. If you watch any of these Braden Fist stunts, you're pretty much guaranteed that Braden is taking the absolute shortest, quickest route to the quarterback humanly
Mhm.
possible. Like he has this uncanny, like that play, for example, he like a run. You know, they take a running backs. You want to squeeze. You want to be able to. You want to be touching the blockers' backs as you go by them. That's how close you should be
Yeah.
to your blockers. He's touching the backs of the guys that of his own teammates that are really blocking for him to get through on this stunt play. He's riding it tight the same way that a running back does. It's really impressive. And Fisk obviously had the 2 sacks, so it was just a wonderful play. And to your point, first step is just explosive, man.
Yeah, he's a problem, dude. And I wonder if would now be a good time to pull up the snap counts if we're talking about Fisk.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's. Let's do that at the end of this section.
okay, sure,
But
sure.
but
Yeah,
keep
well,
it in
I'll
mind.
just give you a quick preview of that, and we'll talk about it more later. But the guy is only playing like half the snaps, a little
Well,
bit
let's
more
just
than
pull it
half
up.
the snaps, which is okay. Well, yeah,
57%.
here it is, 57% of the snaps. We've already talked about this a couple times. I'm not sure why he's not playing more. Especially when the production you're getting guys like Michael Hoyt who are playing more than him. To me, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't
Um,
just not make sense. It's actually like infuriating, to be honest.
yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I'm trying to see it as far as just
By the way,
snap count stuff too,
I'm
like
not. I'm not standing for this. Michael Hoyt is some kind of Super Bowl player or superstar player. All of
no,
a
of
sudden, I'm
course.
absolutely. This is utter nonsense. But yeah, you're talking about Spates' snap count down to 55%. He was up at like 80 last week. Remember? So Spates playing a great game, one of the best of his career. Snap count's down. Kinchen's played
How
one of
many
the. Go ahead.
how many snaps did he actually get? What's the number of snaps that he got?
Who? Which? Who? Spates?
Spates, Omar? Yeah.
42.
Okay.
He had, by the way, he was losing playing time to Michael Hoyt, who played a lot of middle linebacker for some reason.
Yeah,
A
that
lot of
was
a lot of
weird.
inside linebacker. Roseboom had his snap count down, which is encouraging. But like Quentin Lake playing 100% of snaps is sickening. Quentin Lake is not a
Yeah,
good enough player to be playing 100% of snaps. That's nonsense. Although I think he might be the green dot, so I think maybe it's
So
the issue
look,
with that.
oh yeah, that's right.
But you're talking
That is
about
good call. That is
Fisk,
why.
Spates, and Kinchin snap counts way down. You're talking about, and then a good point, Akilla Witherspoon, who's just dog water. His snap counts
Dog
are
water.
going down as well, which is good. But
But
but 3 guys who are legit studs for us the last few weeks. It's like you got to reward good play and good behavior, right? Fisk, Spates,
yeah,
and Kinchin's last 3 weeks have been playing out of their mind. And what's the reward? All your snap counts are going down. To Michael
yeah.
Hoyt and Christian Roseboom and Akella Witherspoon, like, bro, get out of my face. That's nonsense.
I do think though, I think that Omar snaps is gonna probably go up and down. He's still gonna be in the 40s, the high 40s, like the mid 50s. He should have more, but I think that is a lot of snaps, but I think it's gonna continue to go
Yeah,
up
but it's
and maybe
55%.
stay steady.
That's the
Yeah,
problem. Is
yeah.
the percentage point?
Hold
He's
on,
like
hold on. You said Quentin Lake played 100%?
100%.
100%, man. He never left the field. But I think
That's on
Ethan
shooting, bro.
Ethan said it
That's
said
bad.
why is that he has the green dot. So, Reader used to have it and Reader's out, and now I think Lake has it. So that would make
That's
sense on the
Quentin
field.
Lake plays 100% all the time.
Bro, train someone else on the
Better.
green dot, man. Train a better
Yeah,
player on the green dot. Like it's
yeah, sure.
it's we should have
Yeah.
had a better plan than Troy
I kind
Reader
of
ride
like.
or die. Right? We
I
went
think I
Troy Reader
like.
ride or die. That's nonsense.
Yeah, I think I like Kinchins and McCullough more than Quentin Lake. I'll be honest. I
Well,
I,
I
I think
like
I trust. I mean, especially as well, they're rookies, but like, yeah, like, I think they've been a little bit better, honestly.
Kinchins
Than
is earning the majority of the snaps at free safety. That's just
Yeah,
facts.
he's
Mhm.
improving fast, man. He's improving.
Fast. When's the
Yeah,
last
and
time you
eventually
saw
gonna be.
Kinchins blow a coverage?
No, yeah, it's been a
That's a
few
great
weeks. And
point.
by the way,
That's a great point.
I no, you're right about that. He has definitely gotten more solid
3
in coverage.
interceptions,
And
better in the run game. Like he's
yeah, bro, I completely forgot. Remember that strip he had in this game? He
yes.
stood up the runner completely and like he earned that forced fumble. It wasn't just like, oh, the guy
By the
fumbled. Like
way,
he stood him up and ripped that ball out. Like that was a really, really
if you
good play.
guys don't know Kinchins, if you were not familiar with his game, Kinchins is a playmaker. This is
He's
what
a
he
playmaker.
does. The
He's a
interceptions,
playmaker.
the four.
Absolutely.
By the way, he forced fumbles like that in college a lot too.
Yeah.
When we watched his
Yeah.
college film, it was like, oh, this guy makes plays.
Yeah.
So Kinchins is really a lot more like his college self than he was early in the season. This is who we expected Kinchins to be. Maybe not this early, but this is who we expected Cam Kinchins to be.
Yeah.
I would like to see. I know it's not possible, but like I would like to see Omar Spates, Braden Fisk, and Kinchins all up near this, like the 70 to 80 percentile.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've
And
earned it. They are playing out of their mind well. They're earning those snaps, and I just think it sends a really negative message that like the better you play, the less snaps you're gonna get, because that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And with Fisk still being the biggest one that I don't get, as just because you said it, Ethan, he has the motor to be playing more. So I can't
100%.
I can't imagine it's like an endurance thing. I don't know.
I'm
I really
willing to
don't know.
bet
I
the
don't
farm
understand
it's
it.
not.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what that's about, especially when the other DTs. I mean, obviously, Turner is good, but like Bobby Brown is. I mean, he's a different type of player, but still. Anyway, bottom line, he needs to be on
No,
the
no,
field more. But
honestly, Kobe Turner and Bobby and Braden Fisk should be playing 80% plus both.
yeah,
And there's no reason not to, because if you need a nose, Kobe is versatile enough to play the 5 or the nose. And by the way, so is Fisk. Fisk has played some nose and has done well from the nose. Those two guys, no
Mhm.
matter what, if you're playing a 4-down set, a 3-down set, or a 5-down set, those two guys can play any of the roles in any of those sets. Fisk and Kobe Turner should be playing 80+%, and then you give whatever scraps are left to Bobby Brown and Tyler Davis,
yeah,
preferably Tyler
yeah.
Davis.
And then just on the safeties, because it's kind of a weird kind of rotation we have. I don't know if weird is the best word, but like when John Johnson comes back, I really wonder what this is going to look like. Because we have Cam Curl, who he's playing 100% of the snaps. He kind of plays a different role. He's more of like a closer to the line of scrimmage type of player. Quentin Lake, who's playing 100% of the snaps, but I don't think he's good in coverage. And JJ,
I don't think he's good at anything, to be honest.
yeah, fair enough.
I'm done with Lake. I'm
I hear you. I had stocked down Quentin Lake last week. I'm not very high on him either, but JJ I think is our best cover safety. So that's really it. Is I just when he comes back, he's set to come back next week. I really wonder what this is going to look like, because what I would want is Cameron Curl and John Johnson, and then maybe Kinchins is kind of like the guy who comes in.
To be honest,
But
they can all three
if
get over 80% of the snaps.
I agree, but my concern is that if Lake has 100% of the snaps now and he has the green dot, that they're not
I
gonna.
would be
That's
surprised.
not gonna be the lineup. But that's the lineup I would want.
I would be
is
surprised if John Johnson can't take the green dot away. He's that guy.
Oh yeah, that's true. I wonder if he could.
But like, if you look at it right here, you've got 100% for Curl and Lake. That's 200%, and then you have Kinchins at 54 and McCullough at 38. So, quick math tells me that's 92. That's 292%. So safeties are playing 292% of the snaps. There's no reason why Curl, John Johnson III, and Kinchins can't all play over 80% of the snaps.
Yeah, that's what I would want. That's exactly what I would want. Those three.
Yeah. I agree. I
100%.
agree.
In fact, I would just make Cameron Curl like full time slot line, not slot, sub linebacker and strong safety, and then just I would be running John Johnson the third and Cameron
Kinchin.
Kinchins deep, baby.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
I
those
like
two
that. I
guys?
like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's delicious.
cover two with those guys roaming the back
Mm,
end. I think,
that's
that would be nice.
delicious.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
I don't know. I know we're kind of going in like there's a lot to talk about here, but I just again as far as the defense, like you said it's up and down, and you know Patriots, credit to them. Drake May he made a lot of plays, played well, but as far as just letting them score more points than they've been scoring really all year, and to me it just comes down to like our pass rush and our D line is playing really well. And what's frustrating about it is, it's supposed to go hand in hand where when your pass rush and your D line is good, that's supposed to make it easy on your secondary.
Hmm.
And right now, our secondary, to me, it's simple. Like why we didn't have a good game. Our secondary is not holding up their end of the bargain, and they're not. It's frustrating that they're not able to take advantage of a great pass rush, and they're just it's just too easy, man. It's a lot of. I mean, again, Drake May made some great plays, but a lot of them were. I mean, how many catches? I mean, I guess he didn't go crazy, but Hunter Henry is getting a lot of catches that are just too easy.
Yep.
Their receivers are horrible, bro. Horrible. Like it doesn't get worse than
Our
those
secondary
receivers.
was bad. There's no
They should
debating
be
it.
they should be getting stifled, like completely shut down in the pass game, and it didn't happen with
Oh,
a good pass rush.
before we, yeah, sorry. Before we move on to something else, I just wanted to finish up with the snap count thing here. Blake Corum, I know it's defense takeaways, but Blake Corum, unacceptable. Jordan Whittington. Jordan Whittington is now getting less snaps than Tutu, Tyler Johnson, Hunter
That was a
Long,
weird
Kobe
one, too.
Parkinson, Davis Allen, and DeMarcus Robinson. Unacceptable from me. It is. It just is.
Yep, I agree
Those
with
two
that.
guys both deserve more snaps, and it's silly they're not. Let's see if we have any more graphics to hit on. Yeah, Kobe Turner is him, and I mentioned this to you guys beforehand. So the vertical axis is run stops, the horizontal is pressures. He's top 7 in pressures, and he's number 1 in run stops. But if he wasn't having to hold Bobby Brown's hand so much and taking on so many of the doubles and triple teams because Bobby Brown is not capable of doing them, I guarantee you that he would be up in this corner as like number 1, number 2 in pressures and stops. He might be one of the best D linemen in the NFL right now. And you see
Absolutely.
Braden
fair.
Fisk is up here, like rookie, but doing really well. He's like top 10 in pressures and top 15, 20 in stops. And then Bobby Brown is down in this corner, like my mouse wasn't here, but Braden Fisk here, Bobby Brown down in this corner is one of the worst in the NFL. So you could save your PFF stats, you can save your 80 grade PFF. I literally don't care. He's not getting snaps, he's not getting pressures, he's not doing anything for the team, and he's not taking on double teams, triple teams, barely at all compared to the other guys. So like Bobby Brown, snaps down, please. What else we got here?
Real quick
Sure.
before we move on and get to really mention this, I do want to mention something that I thought was a positive defensively, and I know it's been a trend for us. We've been doing it. Is stopping the run. Uh, Ramondre Stevenson had 20 carries, 73 yards, and a 3.6 average per carry, and that's not good at all. And I really, really, really like how the defensive line has sort of flipped the switch, and it's been night and day from the first 3, 4 games. We've been stopping the run really well. I would say, the last 3, 4 games, we've stopped
Yep.
stopped the run pretty well, and
I can
it's
tell
going
you
to be
exactly how
key
many games
for
it's
the next
been.
matchup.
You want to know how I can
Oh, yeah,
easily
yeah.
tell you? How many games has Troy Reader been injured?
3.
Okay, there's your answer.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's actually
really,
true.
that's actually true. Like, I don't think that's
No,
a
yeah.
joke either. I think that's
No, I'm
like
being
him
dead
leaving the
serious.
field.
No,
Yeah, him leaving the field has
no
helped the
meme
run.
though.
Has helped the run defense
But you see
tremendously.
you see the way Omar plays and attacks the run, right? Like he's
Yeah.
great
Absolutely.
instincts and great aggressive, explosive attack of the ball. When he sees the
Yeah.
hole, bam, he shoots out like a cannon, bro. Great.
Yeah. No, yeah,
With
because
you, absolutely.
it's the fact that Omar is good, and it's the fact that it's addition by subtraction. Just Troy Reader not being there, being dragged for 3 yards on every play. But no, Joe, good
Mhm.
call. You're right to bring that up. The run defense, three games in a row. That's something you can actually hang your hat on.
Yeah.
Looking really good.
Factual.
And it says its biggest test next week. But anyway, we'll get to that later.
I just wanted to highlight. I can't harp on the D line enough. We have 4 of the
Yep.
top 10 first and second year D linemen in the NFL in pressures right now.
Yeah.
So
Oh man.
drafting home runs, and Cam Kinchins with a best grade among all rookies in week 11, and I think he was also the best or one of the best in week 10. Back-to-back weeks now where he's been dominant.
Yeah. I'm sure he wasn't. Was that? Oh wait, week 10 was.
Oh, let me double check.
That wasn't. Was that Miami?
Yeah, Miami.
Okay, never mind. I
No.
actually don't.
So, but in Miami, he was a top. He's 3 weeks in a row now where he's been a top-rated
Okay.
guy.
'Cause I know Seattle. I'm sure he was
2
top
interceptions.
rated.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, I think that's 3 weeks in a row where he's been a
Wow.
top-rated rookie in the NFL. He's starting to come into his own. He's being a playmaker. He's playing great coverage. I mean, bro, he's doing really well. In fact, I think against the Dolphins, I want to say he had a couple pass deflections. Where is he? No, he didn't. But I think he still played really well against Dolphins. But yeah, he's had 2 games in a 3-game stretch where he's been really good. So that's it. That's the freaking defensive talk. Let's move on to stock up, stock down. Start on the offensive side of the ball. Who wants to start us off on offense, stock up?
I guess I'll go first. My stock up is I hope I didn't steal you guys', but my stock up is Steven Villa. I think
Okay.
since Steve has been back, I've seen a stat where he hasn't given up a pressure throughout since he's been back. So one pressure
2 games
since he's been back.
Yeah.
In 2 games, and you could tell when he's on the offensive line, the left side just looks super healthy. It just looks really, really good. So my stock up is Steve Avila, and I'm just so happy he's back because we had a carousel for a minute. We had Dedich, we had Bruss. They put no boom right down. I'm glad we got off Starwood.
He's that guy too. That's a great one. Will?
Yeah, and happy to see that there was really no rust from him. Hadn't played for a while, but just right away looking good. For me, my stock up on offense is Matthew Stafford. We talked about it a lot already. He was efficient. He did miss a few throws. He also made a bunch of great throws. And then what I really like that I also mentioned already is just the decisions. I mean, missing a throw is one thing, but there wasn't anywhere it was like, yo, why the hell would you throw that? That's something we had seen with Matthew Stafford, honestly, all season. I think it's been one of his worst. I've seen more bad decisions from Matthew Stafford this season than in any season as a Rams in a Rams uniform. So like a cleaner game too, efficient, cleaner game. Made a bunch of wow throws. So Matthew Stafford stock up.
Okay, my stock up is going to be Puka Nacua and Cooper Cup.
That's a great.
Really, it's just a matter of like when they're both healthy and the game plan, the play calling is good, they're completely and utterly unstoppable as a duo.
Yep.
I mean,
pretty much.
Maybe a hot take. I don't really think so. They may be the best duo in the NFL when things are going when the game plan is good and they're healthy. I think they might be the best duo in football, receiver wise.
I agree with that.
You got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Yeah, there's a couple. I don't think AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are up there just because Devontae Smith is nowhere near the level of these guys. I would say the same thing is true about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
because really we have 2 1A guys.
I love T. Higgins.
Right.
But he's not a 1A guy. Like he's not a 1A guy. So you're talking. We have 2 1A guys.
I honestly like just to if I can veer off. I mean, it's not really veering off because these are both of your stock ups. Who do you think is better, like in their prime? And I know maybe one could argue Puka hasn't even reached his prime, but I like which receiver do you think is better, Cooper or Puka? Honestly, like for me, I can't even decide.
Well, it's just a matter of what you're arguing, right? Because you're talking about the highest peak. That's obviously going to be Cooper. Puka's never going to do a triple crown with 2,000 yards. Like that's just probably never going to happen.
You don't think he could? I mean, he broke the receiving record for rookies. Like I don't see why.
I mean, is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No.
Yeah.
Me,
like, and I
the
guess
only
like,
reason.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Go. I'm gonna just to get not controversial. I'm gonna choose one. I think Puka is the better player right now, just because Puka is way more physical to me. I actually think Puka is faster, and I think Puka on the outside Cup is really good on the outside, but I think Puka on the outside is just better, and his physicality mixed with his speed. I think the only thing that Cooper Cup has over him right now, of course, is leverage. He knows how to run. He can his balance when it comes to keeping his feet in bounds. But I think one big thing that Puka has to get better is his hands.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
Puka has way better hands than Puka Nakua does. But once Puka gets that, I think you're going to see a huge jump, and the gap might get a little bigger. But I still love Cooper
Yeah,
Cup. I still think
Puka's capable. It's just a question of, for me, it's just like Cup has reached his heights and Puka hasn't. So it's impossible for me to
yeah,
say
that's
Puka's better than Cup when Cup had one of the greatest seasons of all time. It's like,
yeah,
I mean,
that's
like
totally
today,
fair.
me specifically, I'm just talking about today, like right now. Just speaking of right
right now I'm taking Cup, but it's by a narrow margin, and simply because I think still in our offense, Cup gets more attention than Puka does. Cup opens up
now.
more for Puka than Puka does for Cup, and so for that reason,
Okay,
I go Cup.
Yeah,
but
a tough one, man. I don't even know. I just want to do what you
Yeah. Yeah.
guys thought. I'm not even gonna make a pick. So
So
let's just move on.
so stock up defense.
I'm gonna avoid the question like a coward. All right, defense.
Stock up defense. I'm gonna lead this off, and I am going to go Cam Kinchins. It might
Yeah.
be the low hanging fruit, but you got to understand something. I was really high on Kinchins before the draft, and when we drafted him, I was pretty ecstatic. So
Mhm.
when he struggled early, it was a gut punch, but I also clearly stated before the season he should never start his first year. Because Kinchins isn't fast, right? He's not he's actually pretty slow. He's like John Johnson, Robert Woods, Cooper Cup type speed, but he
Mhm.
has the instincts. Now, what I was worried about in the first season was if your instincts are still catching up to the NFL speed, but you don't have the legs to catch you up when you're a little slow, when you're still learning to make the reads at a faster pace. I was convinced that those two things would be problematic, where he was still adjusting his mind to the NFL game and his legs weren't fast enough to play catch up on some of those plays, which we saw early on in the season. But he caught up with his mind a lot faster than I thought he would. And he's a bona fide starting free safety. And if he keeps making plays, talking about forced fumbles, interceptions, broken up passes, bro, that's what separates good from great
Mhm.
free safeties is playmaking. Because there's a lot of guys who will like cover their zone well, who will
Yeah.
like be where they're supposed to be well. But the guys who separate themselves as studs are the guys who get the interceptions, who really have game changing pass breakups, and who have forced fumbles and create opportunities for the defense and then more opportunities for the offense.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Cam Kinchins is probably. I don't know if you guys agree. Well, no, you have guys probably would agree because it hasn't been a lot. But I think Cam Kinchins is probably our best safety prospect we've had in a long.
Since John
Other than
Johnson,
other than John Johnson, yeah. Other than John
He has
Johnson,
the
yeah.
potential to be. Yeah,
he
for
has the
sure.
potential to be better than John Johnson because John Johnson wasn't a ball hawk like that, and
Hmm.
not like John Johnson was great in coverage, but that's actually what I'm talking about. The difference between a good and a great guy. John Johnson was always in the right spots. He occasionally made
Yeah.
interceptions, but Cameron Kinchins is a guy who could easily get 7, 8 interceptions in a season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to go
Where you
next?
want to go? Or you want me?
Or sorry,
Oh,
Joe, do you want to go next?
yeah. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and go real quick. My stock is already high on this guy, but I do want to put more stock on because I don't think I've gave him enough praise like I should. I'm gonna go stock up Kobe Turner. I think Kobe Turner's having a really, really, really great season. I was looking at his stats the other day, and I think it's like 5, 6 sacks. And his tackles and his solo tackles, combined tackles are almost close to what he had his whole season last year. So he's probably going to surpass that by a lot. And he's going to. He had 9 sacks last year. I think he might get in double digits this year. And Kobe has really had a really good year. Last game, I think he was really, really good. So I'm gonna go stock up Kobe Turner.
Yeah, totally agree with you. He's having a really good season.
He is.
My stock up, this is a guy that when I watched the game the first time, he didn't necessarily stick out to me, but when I rewatched the game, he made a few good plays, and I'm gonna stock up Cam Curl.
I thought you were
So
going to say
he
Michael Hoyt. I was about to walk out.
Nah, 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 nah. Hell no. So he did miss a tackle on Tyquan Thornton early in that game where Thornton got around him and then got kind of a big gain. So that was
Yeah.
obviously a bad play. But after that, I think he did a good job. So we know this about Cam Curl. This has been well documented. He is not like a safety that you want deep in coverage. He's not a rangy guy that's going to take away half of the field in cover two. That's not what you want from him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in certain areas, he can be good in coverage. You know, flat routes. You know, anything. You know, maybe like 12, 10 yards in. And you saw that from him this game when he was used correctly. He had a couple really nice pass breakups and really important situations. So one of them was a really nice PBU on Hunter Henry, like at the goal line, saved the touchdown. You know, decent route, decent throw. That's just Cam Curl making a play. He had a pass breakup in the 2-minute situation too. Again, I just think, you know, when you use him properly, he's a good piece in this defense. Stock up Cam Curl.
You know what's you know how I would just describe Cam Curl? He's a linebacker against the run and he's a cornerback against the pass. Because he can play good in man and he can play good in shallow zone the same way that a corner would. He's not a safety in coverage where he plays deep, instinctual safety. He's more of a sticky, bursty kind of guy.
Yeah.
So that's a good one, though. I thought he had a good game, and I think he's been underrated all season long, partially because he's been getting used incorrectly a lot.
Exactly.
So then, is that all 3 stock ups on defense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So stock down, offense.
What you want to go first?
Will?
Okay, so look, I've been up and down on this guy all season, but that's what the stock market is, right?
Yeah.
Like I actually don't invest, but that's what stocks do. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. I'm gonna stock down, and first of all, it was a pretty good day by the offense, so there wasn't a lot to like. So there isn't one that's like a glaring one, but if I had to pick one, I'm gonna stock down D-Rob again, man. And it's for one, you know, we brought up the snap counts. I don't think this guy is so much better than Jordan Whittington that Jordan Whittington should have 10% of the snaps, and D-Rob had what, like 76% or something. That to me, I take issue with that.
75.
I think Whittington has a chance to be a really good receiver, and we're kind of like stifling his development here. I think he can contribute right now.
He's also a better fit for what we do, by the way.
I also agree with that. Yeah, he fits. He's like a prototypical Rams offense receiver. Exactly. He can block well, and
Yep, he's a better blocker,
and even
more reliable.
Yeah, right. So it's been a couple games from D-Rob. He's been quiet. You know, we talked about how when Cooper and Puka are on the field, normally D-Rob as a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, he can contribute. Hasn't been contributing a lot, so that's really it for me. Stock down, and as far as wide receiver 3, I would like it to be more of like an equal split between Whittington and D-Rob for myself personally. So
totally agree.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go real quick. My stock down offensively. I know this might make Ethan smile a little bit inside. I'm gonna go with Tutu Atwell. I think we've gotten to the point to where I've been noticing it week by week. Tutu Atwell is sort of irrelevant when we have Cooper out there, when we have Puka out there, even DeMarcus too when he's out there, when all 3 of them out there.
Yeah.
Tutu he's super irrelevant. You see him go back and forth, and he makes a nice catch here and there, but what he does is no longer needed for this offense when our guys are healthy. So I'll say stock down Tutu Atwell.
Yeah, he had one nice catch on a deep out, and that was it.
Tutu is exactly who I've always said he was. He's more of a negative than he is a plus when everyone is healthy and playing. I also wanted to reiterate on what you said about DeMarcus Robinson with some statistics, because I think it's worthwhile. These are his last 2 games, and it not only is he not being productive, he's being the opposite of productive. He caught 1 out of 5 targets against Miami.
Oh wow!
And he caught 2 out of 4, so he's 3 for 9. He's catching 33% of the balls that are being thrown to him in the last 2 games. That's trash. That's just straight garbage. You're talking about guys like Puka and Cup who catch 80+% of the passes thrown to him, and then you got a guy catching 32%. Why even throw the ball to him? To be like, just to be straight real. So I couldn't agree more. My stock down for offense is going to be Kyron Williams again.
Whoa. I didn't know that your stock could even go lower on him.
His stock is so low.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna explain it. Because it's not about me. it's just looking at the world in a more broad sense, right? So this is what I'm doing with stock down this week. Both of my stock downs are going to be a more broad world stock down. And the reason why I say this is because even the most ardent Kyron lovers, like Joe, for example, or people on Twitter who are big Kyron guys, um, are starting to become disillusioned with Kyron Williams. And
Yeah, I've seen that this week actually. Got exactly. People
I
who
don't want to
normally
name
would be high
names,
on him.
but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
it,
I've seen it.
if you just look up Kyron Williams on Twitter, and you're going to see people who have defended him every season, every week for the last year and a
Yeah.
half, who are I'm actually just playing with Joe. Joe's not the biggest Kyron guy in the world, but
But
Joe is higher on us than Kyron, and he's now starting to realize Kyron is
Not anymore.
he's a run blocking
Not
merchant.
anymore.
Whatever the run blocking gets him is whatever he's going to get. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, sometimes less, but so yeah, I think in the broader world of Rams fans, people are finally starting to see who Kyron is, and he's just a guy. He literally he's a jack. He's just a guy. He's a guy who gets whatever is given to him,
Absolutely.
sometimes less. So for that reason, stock down is Kyron Williams on offense. So stock down defense. I'm actually going to lead off because I'm going to go off on the same tangent about the broader world of Rams fans, and I'm fighting the forces of evil. I refuse to give in to this Michael Hoyt nonsense. He is not a great player. He is not a good player.
he's not even a good player.
He's bro. You know what it was Michael Hoyt made one pass deflection in coverage, and everyone's like, he's the best guy ever. No, he's not. He's not good. His snaps are wasted on him. There's just no because he's taking away snaps from Omar Spates at inside linebacker. He's taken away snaps from Braden Fisk. He's taken away snaps from Jared Verse. Bro, I don't ever want to see Michael Hoyt on the field over any of those guys ever. There's no situation where he's playing better than those guys, in my opinion, ever. And so, bro, Michael Hoyt is just this guy who makes like one decent play a game, and everyone's like, see, I knew he was a superstar. Like, bro, did you not watch any other snap this game? So I'm combating the forces that are trying to prop up Michael Hoyt, and I'm saying stock down Michael Hoyt because he is nowhere near as good as a lot of people on Twitter and other places are claiming he is.
I agree. I'm all the way. I'm all the way there with you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Too.
Ironically, it was probably his best game of the season, but that's beyond the point. One decent game doesn't erase 8-9 games of garbage.
No, I think that's totally fair. Just, I mean, a couple good plays does. I mean, he blocked an extra. Was it an extra point?
Yeah.
That was
You
cool.
get credit for that.
That was cool.
I'll give you
I mean, I
credit
just
for
thought
that.
I'd mention
No.
that. Not even.
But you know what? That's where he deserves to be on special teams.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
great.
sure. Yeah, it wasn't even a defensive play, so. No,
Yeah.
I hear you. I
Yeah,
guess I'll
Michael
go.
Hoyt to block some punts, block some field goals. He could do that.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. I had Akello Witherspoon, and
Oh,
so
That's a great one.
I'll just consider.
I've noticed a theme with this guy. I think I boiled it down to this. He actually, there's a lot of plays where Akello Witherspoon actually his coverage is fine, and he actually has decent coverage, but he doesn't play the ball well.
Oh my gosh.
And to me, that's even worse. It's like I've seen like 5 or 6 plays from this guy where he's in perfect position, ball's in the air, and he just whiffs on it.
You know what's
He
funny?
He doesn't have good ball skills. and
How
you're-
many
you're
times
smart.
on Twitter have we seen that? Akella played it perfectly. That's just a really good catch and a really good.
Yeah.
Bro, that's not good
Yeah.
enough. A good
Exactly.
corner
It
gets
almost
in
makes it
there.
worse. Right. So it is frustrating, man. And
But that's what it is.
I
He's
was-
either getting his ass whooped or he's playing good and still blowing it.
right. So it's like either way, I mean, I think the single biggest. So I was saying earlier, just in the defensive takeaways, I was frustrated that the pass rush is playing so well and the back end isn't doing their job. I think probably the single biggest weakness on the team is that cornerback 2 spot. No, I mean, because D Will is playing fine. He's playing pretty well.
He shouldn't be
You
playing
know,
there. Oh, can I say something real
safety-
quick? It's an
Yeah.
emergency. It needs to be said right now. Trey White was great for the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. He
So
played
for
well.
all the people who were pounding the table to have
we
Trey
saw
White
that.
cut or traded,
He was good. He was good against the Steelers.
he was good. By the way, they have some good receivers. They have a good quarter. Like,
Yep.
bro, Trey White was great. He
so
played
annoying.
better in that game than anyone has for us at corner all season.
Yeah.
You know
I
what?
just-
Real quick on that. The one thing the Rams should have did was they should have at least waited until D Will was able to get back on the field, so he
Yeah.
could have played next to D Will. They should have waited for that.
No, yeah, they
Absolutely.
took too many. It's too drastic to go. Okay, fine. If you don't want to make him your cornerback, because he was our cornerback one, fine. If he's not a quarterback one, that's fine. But going all the way from that to just him being off the team, I mean, you can't convince me this guy wouldn't be like a good CB3 on our team.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Anyway, just to wrap it up and kick it to you, Joe. Just basically, I was just saying like in our secondary, I think we have some talent at safety. You know, we have some guys that I think with the right rotation, I think our safeties position is actually kind of strong. Darius Williams is doing his thing, and it really, to me, the big weakness is that other corner spot with Akello. So that's my stock down. And even Durant, he's doing some good things in the slot. He's up and down, but I trust him a lot more than Akello with
Can
this
I
team.
can I
So
pull something up before we move on, please? Because I'm really passionate about this.
yeah, that just makes me angry, dude. And the thing is, we both called it. Like
We all three called it.
I never wanted Trey White off this team.
Yeah.
No,
And
I wanted to
he-
see him
he-
across from D. Will. I wanted to give him a
Yeah,
chance
yeah.
to get his legs underneath him. The man has been mostly hurt for the last 3 seasons. And by the way, they're all leg injuries. Can this guy
Yeah.
just get a chance to get back into ball shape, into game day shape? But no, 1 for 4, 80. He was one of the best corners in football this week against
that's
a
so
very
annoying.
good set of. He was on
Bro.
Pickens a lot.
That's genuinely tilting.
It's
Like I'm actually
it's
so annoyed.
infuriating, man.
Yeah.
I just had to
Yeah,
get that out there
it's,
because we predicted it, we called it, we knew it was coming, and you know what? He's probably gonna ball out the rest of the season.
Yep.
What a great addition for the Baltimore Ravens, bro.
It's because with the Ravens, Trey White doesn't have to. We got Marlon Humphrey out there. You got some other corners out there. He's like CB2. He's like CB3. So that's the position he needs to
No,
be
but
put
dude,
in.
he
Because-
was
He could have done that for us
I'm
though.
telling you
Yeah,
though,
he
he
could've
was
been put in
on
that position.
Pickens a lot. He was playing CB1
Yeah,
a
no.
lot.
Yeah, because the way that he's Marlon Humphrey, they really don't have him follow.
No,
Really,
I
they
know,
put
I
him
know.
on.
But we could have done
Yeah.
that too. We could have had D Will on one side, Trey White on the other.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Bro.
That's what we should have did.
In
But the-
any even like just depth wise, like our cornerback spot isn't
Yes.
deep enough for you to just let go of a veteran corner.
No, we have
Like-
what's that guy's name? The undrafted free agent corner we keep playing.
Oh yeah.
Wallace
Josh
guy.
Wallace.
Josh
something.
Wallace. I think.
Josh
He
Wallace.
actually I know you're joking. He actually looks kind of decent, but no,
not
yeah,
Trey
exactly.
White.
He's
decent.
not.
No.
He's
Of
not
course,
awful.
I
No,
totally
Josh
agree.
Wallace. He's not bad.
That
He's not
we don't
bad.
have the
He's
depth
not.
to just be giving up a veteran corner like
No.
that for nothing.
That-
like
that-
you keep him even as insurance for an injury or something. At that point, it's worth more than a 7th round. Like that doesn't make sense in any.
I know exactly how this played out. This is obviously just a prediction or thought, but obviously he was unhappy. He wanted to be traded. That's just
true.
clear.
He probably forced.
But-
that's actually. He
but-
probably forced.
But we botched
Fair.
it because I think we just decided that we were going to leave him on an island for the first few games, and then every time he got beat with no safety help, we blamed him. I think they blamed him behind closed doors. Why would he get so pissed off so quickly?
Yeah, I only saw one play, and it was against the Lions where he genuinely got torched.
By the
And
way,
then other
Jamo's
than that-
torching everyone.
Yeah, sure, of course. JMO on a double move, like that's gonna happen. And that was week 1, especially too. So
Yes,
but
with no
and he's coming off
preseason.
an injury. Yeah, and exactly coming off an injury, no preseason. Like other than that, I think he was playing fine. Anyway, I don't want to. He's not
No,
on our
it's
team anymore,
just-
so I'll leave it. But
It's
that
frustrating.
I don't agree with that.
Anyways, okay, so we gave ours.
real quick.
Joe, your stock down's up. Unless you.
Yeah, real fast. I'm gonna do mine fast because I had the same thing as well. I had a color with the phone. I was sort of always like I thought he would be a decent CB2, but I don't think he's that. One thing I do want to add is one thing I hate about Akello, and I don't want to disrespect him, but he has this thing to where he thinks he's better than he actually is, and he always he has one bozo play every game to where he tries to make a superstar move, and it's so annoying. And it's because he just thinks he could do things that he can't. And I wish he would just sort of just settle back and just play
Be
how
solid.
he played here. Just be solid. Yeah, just stay solid. Don't do too much. And I think he would look way better. But he always tries to do too much.
Yeah.
And that makes him look just way worse than he should look.
Agreed. All right, we're ready for the next week's
Um,
preview. That was all of them, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, let's get to it.
Rams versus Eagles. This is dun 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 biggest game of the year.
This is
Again.
a huge game, man. This is huge.
So quick, just straight thoughts. This is the hardest game of the season. You could say probably the Lions, but they weren't ready for week 1. They were rusty. They're a totally different team now. the Eagles are kind of firing on all cylinders right now. We're facing a top team in the NFC while they're their hottest they've been all season long. So it's a very, very tough challenge. They're very healthy. They are I think they're potentially a tad overrated, but man, it's gonna be a crazy game. What do you guys have any thoughts before we get into the nitty gritty of the offense defense?
I'm just
This
excited, man.
this game reminds me of, it's a weird analogy, but in the election they talk about swing states, right?
Yeah.
So like if if Trump wins Pennsylvania, then all of a sudden like things look way better for him.
Yeah.
This game is like a swing game to me for the
Sure.
whole season. If you win this game, like my confidence that we make the playoffs is like way higher. Like this is a huge opportunity here. Yeah, that's really all I
Now,
have to say.
having said that,
This game is massive.
having said that, if we play the way we did against the Cardinals, the Bears, the
Yeah.
Packers, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Dolphins, we're donezo. And I included some
Well-
wins in there because we didn't play particularly spectacular in some of those wins.
I don't know if we're you mean if we lose this game, the season's
No.
what do you mean by
I mean, if we play the way we've played
Oh, are you
most
just
of the
saying we
games
lose
this
the game?
season, we're going to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
smoked this game.
100? Yeah.
I think to give a little pushback on that, I think because I think each game we've had certain phases of the team that played really well and certain phases that didn't. I think that if we can bring in the defense that we've seen for I said the last 4 or 5 games, and if we can bring the offense that we seen last game, I think we could
Yeah.
probably put together. But the issue has been though, we haven't had a complete game the whole season, other than maybe like the Vikings
So,
game, maybe. We
I,
really have been complete.
Yeah.
I want to push back a little
That's a
bit
great-
on that
that's a
point
great-
because
that's a good point.
if we play the way we played against the Patriots on offense,
Offensively,
we're
I
getting
think
on
we'll be-
offense, we're getting smoked. This team is significantly more talented on defense, and they have a much better defensive game plan. And by the way, the Eagles have a history of smoking Sean McVay. During the Sean McVay era, the Eagles they kind of destroy us. To be honest, I think it's probably one of the only teams in the league in the NFC that Sean has a losing record against. I could double check that, but I'm pretty confident.
What do you mean by if we play the way on offense we played against the Patriots that we would get smoked? Because I thought, we had a pretty good day offensively.
I thought we had a good day.
I thought the
we had a
Patriots
good
had a really bad day as well, and I don't think the Eagles are going to have a really bad day. Like,
Okay.
we talked about
Yeah.
how open Puka and Cup were regularly all game long, right? And like the Cup touchdown.
They were
Like the-
open on some plays, and then Stafford. There were some plays where they were.
Yeah,
it
but the
was pretty
bulk of their
decent
yards
coverage.
and their stats came from plays where they were open, except for the Cooper Cup long touchdown. The Eagles aren't going to single cover Cooper Cup. They're not dumb. The Eagles have a smart
No.
D
Yeah.
coordinator. Isn't it Vic
One thing I will
Fangio?
say, though-
Isn't Vic Fangio there right now?
Yeah, it's Vic
One thing I
Fangio,
will
and
say though,
Go ahead,
Fangio has Sean McVay's number 2.
even though
Yeah, I was about to say that's not a good
one
matchup.
thing I say, even though they got Quinyon Mitchell and they have what's his name?
Cooper
Oh,
DeJean.
They have Mitchell,
He's-
they have DeJean,
He's
they
playing
have
good.
Darius Slay, they
Darius
have
Slay.
Jay Gardner Johnson.
they're
I will
like
say,
that.
last year though,
Their secondary
last
is
year-
loaded. Yeah.
last year Puka and Cooper Cup had to weigh against them last year. Their secondary is better though, but Puka and Cooper Cup had a
Weren't they
nice
weren't
time.
they super injured when we played them last year?
I
I
don't know about
were
the
they?
secondary because I know Darius Slay was up there.
It might have-
CJD, I think Gardner Johnson played in them.
We didn't really torch them though. We had like a good first half, and then we
Yeah, no,
kinda,
I know.
the rest of the
saying
game our
Cooper-
offense was like
We lost
I was saying
14-23,
Cooper
bro.
Kupp
We got
is
yeah,
better.
smoked
yeah,
last year.
yeah. We didn't
No,
really.
I'm pulling it up right now so we can look at it. But like, Cup went off. Cup had 118 yards on 8 catches. Puka,
All right,
Puka
yeah,
had 71 and 1. But like, that's the thing though, right? Is
Yeah,
they're
they
like,
had some success. I guess that was a fair point though. Then yeah, they had some success.
also the talent is
Yeah, they did.
significantly better, and
They did get
the
better,
defensive
though.
coordinator is significantly better because Vic Fangio is the real deal.
No,
We're just, my point is we're going to be facing a much better defense, whether it's the scheme, the game
100%.
plan, the game calling, or the talent. And
yeah,
like Kyron Williams had like 4 big runs. They're big for Kyron, where he was basically untouched because the run, bro, it's not going to happen against the Eagles like that. It's just not.
yeah. No, I agree.
Listen,
They're-
you
but
never
Joe,
know, man.
Joe, I actually like your point though about it being a complete. We needing a complete game, both sides to show up because, like, it almost seems like it's like seesawing where, like, for example, last week against the Dolphins, our defense played well,
Yeah.
and our offense didn't show up. And then the next week, it's like our offense played pretty well and our defense gave up, too many yards and frankly points against a lackluster offense.
Conversions,
So yeah,
everything. Yeah.
it is kind of like seesawing. And so I think it's a good point. Like we need both sides of I mean, even though it sounds so obvious, but we really need a complete game and both sides of the ball to show up
So
like in the same game finally.
I want to hammer down my point about the offense, and that's just that we have to be more complete and more unbeatable. You understand what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of plays that we had that were good on offense where it was a situation where it was like the defense is a little bit better, that might have been problematic, or we were getting open a lot, or there was wide open, like against a much better defensive team, that's not going to happen. And so rather than we took what was given to us, right? We did what we needed to do.
What would that have looked like to you? Because again, yeah, exactly. You can only play the defense that's in front of you. I think I thought it looked good. Like I was satisfied with what we saw. I mean, part of the reason why some of the plays are easy too is because we're scheming it up well and receivers are running good routes. So like
Some of that's
I don't
true,
know.
yeah.
I think it was I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I think I'm satisfied with what we saw against New England, I guess.
No, I understand 100% with
Maybe more in the run game. I would say if we want to like.
But so we were healthy
Point
against the
two.
Dolphins, right? So what was the issue against the
Mhm.
Dolphins?
Well, there was a bunch of issues. I think the run game never got going. The pass protection, we could argue about how bad it was, but it wasn't like as good as it was in other games. The O-line rotation was bad, and then situationally we were horrible. We shot
Absolutely.
ourselves in the foot. We had to settle for like 6 field goals. I know we only made 5 of them, but so yeah, I mean there was a lot of issues across the board.
So
Also, though, I think that we do gotta. A lot of things that were wrong with the Dolphins is we had a better center sitting on the bench.
sure.
We
Yep.
had a better left tackle sitting on the bench.
Right tackle,
And
but yeah.
yeah, right. I'm sorry, right tackle. We had a better right tackle sitting on the bench. I think that plays a big part, especially if we get Rob back next week with Bo Limmer in there. I think that our offense should look a little different than it has in recent times because we're probably gonna get better blocking.
Honestly, McClendon played just as good as Rob has at any point this season. But yeah,
Really.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree.
I don't even think he let him pressure, and he was great in the run game. But
Yeah,
so
agree.
like to me, when I watched the Dolphins game and the Patriots game kind of over again, part of what I'm seeing is seeing that like the game plan battle in the Dolphins game was much better. Like the defensive coordinator was much more prepared for what we wanted to do. We had plays that we had written up where the Dolphins were totally ready for it before it even happened, right? There was none of that with the Patriots. The Patriots weren't sniffing out anything we were doing. They were totally unprepared for everything Sean was throwing at them. Vic Fangio's not going to be that. Vic Fangio's
Agreed.
not going to
Yeah.
be unprepared. So we have to be better. Like 28 points in a game where you were basically had whatever you wanted against that defense all game long is not
Yeah.
going to be as effective against a team who's prepared. And like you said, it's got to be a 3-phase game. We have to bring it in all the phases, and we have to be good to beat the Eagles. They're a very complete team. And
Yeah.
if it's me, if for my money, I'm stacking the boxes and I'm making Hurts beat us. I guess we're gonna get
Yeah,
there. So let's move forward. But the point is it was a step in the right direction, and it was better than it has been. But I just think it was such a masterclass of McVay against the DC in New England, and that's not going to be the case against the Eagles.
I agree with that.
It's going to be a much more evenly matched mind game, and so we have to execute even better in the situations. Because, like, for example, Kyron against a run that wasn't perfectly blocked was basically useless. And that can't happen against the Eagles. We're going to need Kyron to make some stuff happen because we know Corum's not going to play. We need Kyron to make some yards for himself because the Eagles have a stout front seven and they will be in your face all the time.
Well, if we're gonna need that, then that means that's an L because I don't think we're gonna get that.
I agree, but that's my point, right? That's my overarching point is that like we're gonna need more than Demarcus Robinson because really we Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua torched them last year. They had 200 combined yards and 2 touchdowns. It didn't matter. We lost by 9 points, and it probably could have been more. So we need D-Rob to catch more than 1 out of every 5 passes he's thrown his direction. We're going to need Kyron to get some yards he's not getting. Like, even if we just expect Puka and Cooper to go off, we need more from our other players.
Yeah.
we can't have Stafford throwing any interceptable pass. He's got to be on his game decision making wise, because this team is full of playmakers who will pick the ball off.
Yep.
Anyways, as you can tell, I'm a little nervous about this game. Let's move on
Yeah.
to Rams offense versus Eagles defense.
Me too, though. It's
No, I mean, but that's the point. It is the hardest team we faced all season, and it might be the hardest team we play all year.
yeah, and it's a bad time to get them, honestly. Like they're
It's the
red
worst
hot.
time to get them. They're red hot. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. So we're healthy. We're healthy on offense. We're gonna have our fully healthy offense in this game.
Yep.
It's looking
That's
like
basically it.
almost a guarantee Rob Havenstein, but they said basically Rob Havenstein's probably gonna play. So we're gonna be fully healthy for the first time all season long.
Sweet.
Now we were healthy season game 1, but Alaric was suspended. So this is the first time we're gonna have all 11
And Puka
starters.
came out like early on. Puka got hurt.
Well, I think it was this the third quarter, right? Early
No, it was
third
the,
quarter or
I
late
think it was the
second.
first half.
Okay.
But
No, I think it was the first.
Anyway,
I think it was the
either
first
way.
quarter.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was fairly
The
early.
first half. It was early.
Regardless, so we're gonna have our starting 11 for the first time all season long in this game.
Yeah.
And then starting 11 because Limmer's the starting center, not Jonah Jackson.
Yeah. No, he officially is our starting.
So this is it. This is the best test we're gonna face. Then on defense, I think they're pretty much healthy as well. They got Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
They're Josh Sweat. The front seven is actually really good. And the secondary is exceptional.
Yeah, that defense is a problem.
Let's take a quick look
Mhm.
before we move on to this is the Eagles numbers, right? So we're talking about their defense. This is the pass defense. They are great against the pass defense. I mean, second in yards allowed, fourth in TDs allowed. They don't intercept the ball a ton, but the yards per attempt is first in the league.
Wow.
And they're
Wow.
top 10 in everything against the run right here.
Yeah.
They're first in yards allowed and sixth in points allowed. So they're an elite defense, guys. This is the best defense we've faced all season long.
Mhm.
Yep.
Elite defense. So it's gonna be tough.
Man.
It's gonna be tough. They're just they're a totally different monster than we faced all season long. And Vic Fangio, I'm not even playing. Vic Fangio is him.
Yeah. And you already said it, but he specifically has had success against Sean McVay. So that doesn't make me feel great.
You know why? Because Vic Fangio's play style is about generating unusual and high levels of pressure. And Sean McVay's offenses tend to favor the longer developing passing plays that get guys wide open all the time, right? Yeah, so that's the thing about this game is that Vic Fangio's style of defense is kind of an intuitive counter to McVay's style of offense. And so what Sean's going to need to do to really, I think, elevate us to the next level is to do the same thing he did a couple times this season, like against the Vikings, where remember they had pressure on 58% of the dropbacks, but we were dominant. Why? Because we had a really quick action passing game. And we did like draws and stuff that used their over aggression against them. We have to have this game plan against the Eagles or we will be punished. I'm telling you. So that's an adjustment Sean's going to have to make this game. He's going to have to go to that, and he's going to have to allow the playmakers, get Cooper Kupp the ball on a 6, 7, 8 yard out. Let him turn and make a guy miss and go. Let Puka get that 6, 7, 8 yard slant and go. You got to let these guys make plays. You got to trust them to be able to do what it takes and not have to rely on those 15, 20 yard wide open passes that we kind of thrive in, right? So it is definitely part of the issue why it's kind of haunted us in the past, and it's something that we need to really tone down. What are your guys' thoughts on about the offense versus defense?